Invite viewers to post their location and local time. The snow might be falling outside your window, or maybe you're sitting somewhere where cicadas are making the evening hum. Either way, let's see where in the world you're listening from right now and what time it is. Nate Grayson's voice comes like a blade on glass, sharp enough to make the nursery air colder than the winter beyond the pain. That's not for you to hold. You serve him, you watch him, but don't you ever carry him. Maya's arms are already around the baby, Liam, a warm little bundle of heartbeat and breath. But when Nate yanks him away, the child's wail is instant, uncut by politeness, a noise that even makes the crystal mobile above the crib shiver. She wants to say more, to remind him that some bridges collapse the second you cut their ropes, but she swallows it, lets him wrestle with his own awkward padding, the kind that feels like he's burping a garden statue. 30 seconds of red-faced crying later, his hesitation cracks, and he hands Liam back. And just like that tanker restored, Liam buries himself in her chest, the sound falling to little hiccups while her hum threads the room together again. Mrs. Delaney, the housekeeper, catches her later curled in the corner of the nursery, still trembling. That boy only sleeps when she holds him, she murmurs in the kitchen to Rosa, the cook. Historians still argue whether maternal instinct is nature or nurture, but at that moment, nobody's debating. By the second night, the crib experiment fails. Mrs. Delaney tries, Nate tries, the baby protests. Maya gathers him up, presses his cheek to her shoulder, and the storm inside him passes. On the third night, Nate doesn't step in, he lingers at the door like a man at the edge of a pool he doesn't know how to enter. When he finally knocks, his apology is clumsy but real. I was awful. She doesn't coddle him. He doesn't care what billionaire means. He needs warmth and safety. You didn't give him that when you tore him away. A storm outside kills the power one evening, leaving the mansion in a cave-like hush. Nate fumbles with a camping stove. Maya walks in with a blanket and a thermos like she's running a back-alley cafe. "You look ridiculous," she smirks, and for the first time he laughs without sounding defensive. She wraps a blanket, warms a bottle to exactly the right temperature. Trivia break. Ancient Romans warmed baby milk by placing the vessel in warm ashes. Turns out the principle hasn't changed much. Upstairs, Liam stirs and resettles. He's been crying less because you stopped seeing him as an obligation and started holding him like a person, she says, and he can't argue. By morning, there's a quiet shift in the air. Nate knocks before entering the nursery now. Coffee in hand, still terrible, but with oat milk, no sugar. Mrs. Delaney teases, the boss only uses fine china when you're around, which might be her way of noting that the temperature in this house is no longer entirely set by the thermostat. The next test comes with teeth snow pelting sideways, the generator coughing its last breath, and the house lit only by the orange flicker from the stove in the kitchen. Staff have gone home, leaving Maya and Nate in a space that smells faintly of metal and melted wax. She moves through the dark with that same unhurried precision, setting water to warm, folding a blanket over one arm. "You always know what to do," he says, but she just shakes her head. "I don't leave things undone." Historians still argue whether true leadership is born in crisis or in the boring hours before it, but here it looks a lot like remembering the wipes go beside the crib, not across the room. One evening, he knocks not for Liam, but for her. In his office, he shows her the skeletal draft of an assignment to connect single parents and caregivers. It's polished but hollow. She pokes holes like she's shelling peanuts. Help now button first, anonymous option, voice notes for shaking hands. Don't make people type when they're breaking. And cut the fluff. 5 paragraphs are 5 too many when a baby's screaming. He writes every word down, and for a moment, it's not boss and staff, it's 2 people building something that might actually hold. The piece cracks when Liam vanishes. 1 minute, Carla, Nate's assistant, is leading him to wash his hands. The next, he's gone. Security sweeps, panic sharp enough to taste. Maya finds him on the rooftop beside Jeffrey Clean, an exec with a smile so thin it could slice paper. He claims the boy wandered up here, a feat unlikely for someone under 3 on a code-locked door. She calls him on a lie without raising her voice, cradles Liam like she's welding the pieces back together. What follows is part detective work, part endurance test. Maya, Carla, and two analysts squeeze into a records room colder than a meat locker, tracing Northbridge Consulting, Axiom Systems, invoices labeled hardware for Unity, though Unity doesn't need a single screw. It's $3.2 million funneled through shells, topped with Jeffrey's digital fingerprints. The rooftop stunt was a smokescreen, meant to distract while the money trail was still warm. Perfect, Maya says. Let him think I'm just the nanny. At dawn, in the Obsidian boardroom, Nate lays out the evidence like cards in a final hand. Jeffrey bluffs, but the rooftop logs, camera stills, and forged checks stack too high. Security walks him out. He leaves spitting that she's just a PR prop. Maya doesn't flinch. Symbols outlast thieves. The irony? The next battle is the press. A long-lens photo of Nate walking beside her with Liam in her arms hits the feed cheap, Billionaire, and a nanny headlines that skip the part about whistleblowers and stolen millions. She writes a handwritten letter to Liam instead, a private truth. Family is the one who stays with you in the dark until the morning comes. When the snow clears, she turns her letter outward. Warm floor opens in a rented room in East Harlem, a place for women who've been sleeping on floors beside their children. No ribbon cutting, just a paper logo on the door and the first voice note sent to Unity for a mother with an asthmatic toddler. Breathe first, Maya tells her. We'll figure out the rest. Warm floor becomes more than rugs and teats, a relay station for buried stories. One day, a pale blue envelope appears on the doorstep. Maya, written in a slant elegant enough to make you wonder if the sender ever used to write invitations. Inside, Marissa Hayes, former night nurse at Grayson, erased from the system after flagging forged orders and services never rendered. She hands Maya a folder wrapped in a zip beige mails, shift logs, checks that smell faintly of the basement they've been hiding in. I thought you might listen, she says. Maya takes her hand. I'll stay until the end. The next weeks are a grind of mapping names to money trails, layering testimony on top of spreadsheets. Carla juggles calls with a journalist known for covering care work exploitation. Jaden and Priya stitch together IP logs and payment dates until the chart looks less like a company and more like an octopus. Historians still argue whether institutions rot from the top down or the bottom up, but the evidence here suggests both. When a threat letter from Jeffrey's new law firm arrives polished logo, threats of defamation suits Maya answers in her own way. A plain video from Warm Floor, no music, sticky notes, and a crib in the background. This isn't revenge, she says. It's responsibility. Marissa speaks, too, voice steadying with each sentence. Within hours, the hashtag #WeStayWeSpeak trends, 3 VPs resign, and the board greenlights an independent audit. Nate offers Maya the formal role of advisor for operations and ethics, reporting directly to him and the audit committee. She sets her conditions. Unity can't become a vanity badge. Warm Floor stays independent, and the invisible keep a direct line to speak. Deal struck. In the boardroom, she tells the suits, silence has been legalized here for too long. If no one dares to speak, you won't hear. And when you don't hear, money pours through the cracks. By the end of the vote, her appointment is official. From there, the work multiplies. Unity's Help Now button gets a sibling, a one-tap anonymous hotline for employees. Warm Floor's pin map spreads, each at a home with a little more breathing room. The street mural painted over graffiti now reads, "We stay, we speak," surrounded by dozens of tiny handprints including Liam spooling each other up. Claire, Nate's ex, returns not to reclaim, but to contribute, offering to build a Unity channel for postpartum depression. The final audit recovers 63% of the $8.1 million siphoned away. Jeffrey is indicted. Shell partners are banned from future contracts. Maya nominates Marissa, not herself, for the new rotating ethics seat, because staying sometimes means knowing when to hand the mic over. On quiet nights, she and Nate stand over a sleeping Liam, both humming the same lullaby without thinking about it. Staying, it turns out, isn't a promise you make. One seat's a habit you keep repeating. The pace of the story loosens now, like walking home after the last bus has passed and deciding you don't need to rush. The map at warm floor hangs heavier with pins than the day they bought it. But no one's in a hurry to clear space. They'll just start another board when the time comes. In the corner, the electric kettle hums a soft, constant note, not unlike the hum that still settles Liam in seconds. Outside, the maple leaves are copper and gold, trembling against the street lamp's glow. In the penthouse kitchen, the wooden spoons rest beside a small ring box, both marked now by the everyday stains of cinnamon, tomato sauce, maybe even a little glue from Liam's latest craft. The city beyond the window moves fast, but in here the clock feels slower, more deliberate. They talk about grocery lists and floor repairs at warm floor, about the hotline's latest overnight calls, one from a janitor afraid to report missing supplies, another from a foster mother who just needed someone to say, "You're not crazy, it's hard, but you're doing it." And when the day closes, there's no toast to victories, no ceremonial speeches. Just warm milk, laces tied, the help now icon glowing green on a dashboard, and a small boy breathing evenly in his sleep. If you've been listening this far, let the last image be this: a quiet room, a child at peace, and two adults choosing, in all the ordinary moments ahead, not to run. That's the work and the reward and the rhythm worth keeping. So maybe ask yourself what's the place, or the person, you choose to stay for? And if the answer's still forming, that's fine. Stay with it. It'll come.